Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using the word to speak against yourself or to gossip about others. Use the power of your word in the direction of truth and love. This was written by Miguel Ruiz, who wrote the book The 4 Agreements, a Toltec wisdom book and a practical guide to personal freedom. Hi, welcome to Life is a Treasure podcast. My name is Michelle Durand and I am your hostess. This is episode number 43. If this is your first time listening, I want to sincerely welcome you to this show. And I hope that you would subscribe and stick around and also reach out to me on my website, lifeisatreasure.com. And on my social media links are there. And I'd love for you to introduce yourself and let me know where you're listening from and what your takeaways are and what you'd like to hear in the upcoming episodes, because I create these for you all. So if you've been listening to this podcast, in July, the theme was freedom in honor of 4th of July in America. And I felt it would be so awesome to continue that with the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And I will have his book link in the show notes for you to find the book and explore it if you would like to. He uses the Toltec wisdom throughout his book, and he has 4 agreements. So the month of August, I'm going to be taking each agreement and dissecting it and going into more detail and about how we can use this wisdom to create a life that we treasure. So this first agreement, he says, is the most important. And I truly believe it. This book has impacted my life. So I really wanted to share this with you all. So he talks a lot about transformation, and Life is a Treasure podcast is an extension of my organization, Tears to Treasures, which is all about transformation, transforming those times in our life that are so filled with tears and transforming them into memories that we can treasure and hold on to in a more positive light. So as we dive into this, I just want to share that this is going to be mainly talking about the transformation that happens in our mind. And in this podcast, I like to talk about mind, body, and soul and spirit. They all are intertwined. They all are combined together. But you've probably heard me say more often, our thoughts create our words create our actions, and our actions create our reality. And so I'll definitely be diving into that more, because being impeccable with our word starts with our thoughts. It starts with our ideas, our opinions. And so this episode, I'm going to really dive into that, and we're going to explore how those thoughts affect our words, how we use our words either for life or for death. And I know that sounds real powerful, but you know what? Our word is very powerful. As a matter of fact, our word is a gift. We as human beings have the ability to think and process those thoughts into words in order to express our feelings and to communicate with other people. But it has to begin with us. We have to look at ourselves in the mirror and look at the agreements that we've made with ourselves first. Because those decisions start with us, but then they just go out into our relationships with other people in the world. So the most important relationship we can have in this lifetime starts with ourselves. So let's look at impeccable. What does this mean, impeccable? So one of the definitions says, in accordance with the highest standards, ideal with integrity. And our thoughts our thoughts come and go, and some are negative and some are positive, and we have 1,000 thoughts. They're like clouds in the sky, and we choose what we want to focus on. We have a choice always. So it is so important to be deliberate, to have intentions and purpose with our words. So if our thoughts create our words, what are we thinking? Because when we think, that's how we use those thoughts to create our words, which are then how we speak. So how we think creates how we speak, and what we speak into existence creates our reality. It gives us our outcome, whether we want it to be a good outcome, or we can speak destruction and have a horrible outcome. We have a choice to live a heaven on earth or live hell on earth. It is completely up to us. I understand a lot of things are out of our control, but we can control ourselves. We can control our thoughts. We can control our words, and we can control our decisions, which ultimately create our desired outcome. So if we're thinking about being impeccable, and we think of that as being ideal, and we think of that as being like our best, we want to speak from our best place possible. And when we do that, we have the power to create a life that we truly can enjoy. And the opposite of that is speaking against ourselves and speaking against others. So we can be self-critical to ourselves to the point of destruction. We can gossip about other people to the point of destruction as well. It will destroy them. It could destroy the relationship. And in those realms, we have judging, blaming. And those do not promote love. They promote hate and division. One thing I always would say, and I still believe this with all of my being, is say what you mean and mean what you say. And to me, that sums up being impeccable with our word. Saying what we mean, speaking our truth, and then meaning what we say, really meaning it. Don't just throw words lightly. You know what I mean? Like, don't just say things just to be saying things, just to hear ourselves speak, but speak with intention. Because when we speak with intention, we're living our truth. We're closer to our truth. But as we grow up and as we live in a world that is not always full of love, we can be told some extremely devastating remarks. So our mind, if I can give you an analogy of, I love to garden and plant vegetables and flowers, and I love that. So let's go with the mind, the garden analogy of our mind. Our mind is like fertile ground, and our thoughts are seeds. And not only are our thoughts seeds, but think about this. Seeds in our mind are also opinions of others' ideas, the world's concepts, other people's beliefs, stories we may be thinking and making up that are not really true. So keep that in mind, because those begin to grow, and what grows produces fruit. So if we want to create more love and more truth, then we need to believe those things that are impeccable, that are ideal, that will give us that integrity. What we don't want are the weeds of fear, doubt, judgment, criticism. We don't want those planted in our mind. Will they come? Yes, but we can pull them out, just like weeds are inevitable. But we have a choice, and we can uproot them. And you and I have a choice, and we can uproot those things that were said to us. When we think about the 4 agreements, what this means is if someone gives us an opinion, we have a choice whether we want to agree with them or not. That's why it's so important to start with us, because if I know that I'm an intelligent person and someone comes around and says, "You are so stupid," I don't have to believe that. I don't have to agree with what they said. I may have done something stupid that's totally different. But for someone to tell me that I'm stupid, and let's say I don't know who I am or what I believe about myself, so I'm not real sure about myself, and I might think, okay, well, maybe I am stupid. But if I know who I am, and I'm confident in myself, and I know that I'm an intelligent person, then I won't agree with them. And I'll say, well, I'm sorry you think that way, but I know that's not my truth. And I've experienced that many, many times in my life where I have a choice and I say, okay, is there any truth to this? Because if there's any truth, then I want to try to correct that. I want to become the best person I can be. But if I know that they're saying that from a place of their own hurt or their own feelings, then if it's not true, I don't have to agree with that. And you don't have to agree with what everyone says about you. And this brings me to talk about being a parent. With our children, we don't always realize how much our words impact our children and impact them for the rest of their lives. So again, come back to this thought before you speak. Am I saying what I mean, and do I mean what I say? We don't want to say something to be mean. We want to mean what we say. So when we speak from that place of integrity and intention, we're going to create peace. And we're going to create more love in our lives, not just with ourselves, but with other people around us. So it's so important to be careful with what we say. Be careful with what we agree with. Be careful of other people's opinions, their ideas, their beliefs that they've put onto you. Because you have a choice. You can let that destroy you and enslave you, or you can set yourself free. And I know you can, because I was able to use these tools in this book to set myself free from a trap or a hook that's been set by other people. I didn't need them to come and say, I didn't really mean what I said. You're not really selfish. I was hurt by something and I just projected that onto you. I didn't need them to say that. All I had to do was examine myself. Is there any truth to this? And if not, I let it out the window. If there is, then I want to work on that, and I want to develop myself to be less selfish. And I just use that as an example. But maybe think about something in your own life, maybe something that your parents told you or someone told you that isn't true, but you kind of believed it. You kind of bit that hook and you don't know what to do, but you can set yourself free. How? Replacing that with a new agreement. So if you were told that you cannot sing, but you know that you can, that you've been gifted with a voice to sing and help others to just hear your beautiful singing voice, then change it. Instead of saying, I can't sing, proclaim, I can sing. I am a singer. And sing. Express yourself. Use your gifts to bless the world, because that's why we're given our gifts, to bless, not for ourselves, but to bless other people. So you don't have to believe everything that's been said to you. You don't have to take the hook that's been set out to trap you. You can learn how to love yourself the way that you are. And for a little extra help, I have an episode I created on self-love, and I'm going to share it in the show notes so you can easily click on it and listen to it. It's going to help you if you're struggling, if you have always struggled with loving yourself because of things that other people put into your mind, but they're not really true, then I highly recommend you listen to this episode about self-love. It will help you to just slowly be able to peel back that layer and layer like an onion, and to reveal the true person of who you are, and to learn to love yourself again. Because so easily in this world, we're torn down constantly. And it's up to us to build ourselves up. We don't have to wait for someone to come along to build us up. We can have that power within ourselves to build ourselves up, to be the best person that we can be, to be deliberate with our thoughts, to speak with intention, and to create with purpose. And when you do that, you will truly be living heaven on earth versus living hell on earth. Because what you think is how you speak, and what you speak is what you create, and that is what's called manifestation. If you would like more episodes on manifestation, I would love to create them. Just let me know as well. Because we are manifesting all the time, every day, starting with our thoughts, which are the seeds in our minds. So take a look at the opinions, ideas, concepts, beliefs, stories that you've been telling yourself over and over again. And I'd like for you to take one, just one, the one that is impacting you the most negative way. And I want you this week, whenever you're listening to this episode, I challenge you to take one belief, idea, concept that you know is not really true with you. It doesn't resonate with who you really, really are. But maybe that person meant a lot to you and that word just really stuck with you. I want you to take that and I want you to turn that around and I want you to make a new agreement. I want you to replace that wrong, incorrect, harmful belief, and I want you to create a new one, a new agreement with yourself. That this is who you are. That you are no longer what they said you were or who they said you were. But you are now going to set yourself free because the truth is what always sets us free. The truth is what brings transformation in our lives. But it has to start in our minds. So let me know. Reach out to me. My email's on my website. All my social media links are on my website, lifeisatreasure.com. I will have it in the show notes. And next week, I'm going to be going into the second agreement, which is don't take anything personally. And that just goes right hand in hand with this because we can be impeccable with our word, but we can also not take anything personally. And that'll include words from other people, opinions of other people. We don't have to take everything that's been said to us or that we hear personally. We do not. So I look forward to sharing more about this from the book, which I will have linked in the show notes as well. This is a life-changing book. And I just want to remind you, avoid speaking against yourself. Agree with yourself, with your truth. Because when you speak against yourself, you're only hurting yourself. And you don't need to hurt yourself. You don't. And when you gossip about other people, just remember that is a virus. And you don't have to participate and partake in gossip ever. It's a choice. It is a choice. So I really hope that you can just take this with an open mind and really think about the things that we're saying, myself included, and only say what we mean and mean what we say. And that will require intention. And do what you say. If you tell yourself you're going to do something, do it. If you tell someone else you're going to do something, do it. And that is what creates integrity. And when you are living with intention and integrity, you become immune to the world that's trying to bring harm to you. You know who you are, you know what you stand for, you know what you believe, and you become immune to the hatred that is spewed upon you. So that is my words for you this week, this first episode in August of 2020. I cannot believe that we are already halfway through the year. I can't believe we're already on episode number 43, and I look forward to creating so many more with you and for you. I would love to hear your feedback. how this show is impacting you. I would love for you to share it, rate it, review it. But I really love hearing from my listeners. It just means the world to me. And I appreciate every single one of you. And I truly hope that we can all learn and practice being impeccable with our words. Because when we do, we have the power to create a wonderful life that we can treasure. So I'm sending you all so much love, peace, and joy. Thank you for listening to Life is a Treasure podcast. I'm Michelle Durand, and I'd like to personally invite you to join us and continue the conversation in our free Facebook group, Life is a Treasure podcast. The link will be in the show notes at lifeisatreasure.com. You can also find my social media links on the website as well. Please reach out to me and introduce yourself. I'd love to hear where you're listening from and what your biggest takeaways have been. And as we begin to share our secrets, our stories, and our struggles, we find that others can have the courage to start sharing theirs. And this is how the healing process begins. So please help us spread the hope and the healing to others by subscribing, reviewing, and sharing this podcast. And make sure to tag me on Instagram at Michelle Marie with 2 E's, Durand, Durand, with hashtag Life is a Treasure podcast for a chance to get a shout out on the show. And also visit lifeisatreasure.com for all the resources and freebies mentioned. We believe that everyone is equal and worthy of healing and unconditional love. And we promise that if you invest your time and energy to do the inner work, you too can transform yourself and create a life that is a treasure, so you can live authentically, love unconditionally, and laugh wholeheartedly. And until next week, peace, love, and joy.